In the quiet, manicured neighborhood of Westbrook Heights, reputation traveled faster than truth. And no one knew that better than Elias Ward, once one of the NYPD's most promising counter-intel officers. Now the man politely avoided at HOA meetings. 3 months earlier, a departmental dispute over insubordination, they called it, had left him dismissed, stripped of his badge, and forced into a silence that bruised more than the demotion itself. Yet, Elias possessed a flaw the department never understood. He just couldn't figure out how to stop looking out for everyone. So while the world assumed he spent his days repairing his dignity, Elias spent them watching, not obsessively, not maliciously, but with the instinct of a man who once built profiles for a living. The retired lawyer who kept his blinds closed even in daylight. The newly arrived couple with matching suitcases and mismatched stories. The delivery contractor who never delivered anything twice to the same home. Elias watched patterns, and patterns eventually speak. Suspicion and silk threads. Westbrook Heights was elegant, polished, and predictable. The kind of place where residents wore wealth like tailored armor and trouble was considered something imported, not grown at home. But Elias noticed the shift. 2 unfamiliar vans rotated through the neighborhood every Friday, no company name, no commercial plates. Their drivers avoided eye contact with residents, but scanned every doorbell camera with hawk precision. Packages were being dropped at houses whose owners were on vacation. And at night, faint metallic clicks echoed near the community's perimeter cameras, subtle tampering, the kind someone trained would recognize. Elias's instinct sharpened when he overheard a fragment of conversation from the new neighbors in House 112. Halloween weekend. High density. One entry point. Not gossip. Not party planning. That was operational language. The silent surveillance grid, dismissed or not, Elias was still Elias. He installed microsensors beneath his awning, motion triggers disguised inside decorative gourds, and a triangulated audio pickup that looked like a forgotten sprinkler head. He knew the legality was questionable. He also knew terrorism didn't wait for clean paperwork. Soon, every driveway, alley, and shadow between houses painted a digital map of behavior. He built profiles the way others built puzzles. House 77, 2 men, rarely seen entering together, always leaving separately. Large crates in the garage. House 112, odd late-night activity, conversations in low-coded phrasing. Rented unit on Cedar Lane. A woman whose rental car changed plates twice in 1 week. Patterns merged. Then the truth pierced through. Someone was planning a mass casualty event, and they intended to stage it in Manhattan during the Halloween holiday weekend, when streets overflowed with mass crowds, when chaos could hide in plain sight. The neighborhood wasn't just housing the planners. It was the staging ground. Elias had 2 options. 1. Call the NYPD, who had little love for him. 2. Handle it himself, risky, reckless, and possibly fatal. He chose a 3rd option. Send the intelligence anonymously. He packaged footage, timestamps, and behavioral profiles into an immaculate digital dossier. No emotion, no embellishment, only truth sharpened into clarity. Minutes after sending it, he disabled his home lights, grabbed a tactical vest he never returned, and prepared for the confrontation he knew was coming. Because terrorists do not ignore being watched, especially by someone good at watching. At 2:19 a.m., 3 figures approached House 77, not residents. These were cleaners, people who erase evidence and witnesses. They carried suppressed weapons, tactical gloves, and the cold calm of men who had done this before. Elias had already predicted the timeline. He waited in the shadows, every breath steady, every camera recording. When the first man attempted to cut the power to the street, Elias struck fast, silent, disabling him with precision that only comes from training and conviction. The second fired blindly. Elias moved with a ghost-like calculation, using the darkness as an ally. A quick disarm, a controlled impact, and silence returned. The third man fled toward House 112, the suspected command house. Elias followed. What happened next unfolded in 3 minutes, but would later read like a 20-page action report. Elias breached the garage, discovered crates loaded with tactical gear and chemically modified explosive components, captured the last operative using a combination of wit, threat, and the kind of bone-deep authority only a former officer could wield. His surveillance had not just caught them, it had cornered them. Sirens shattered the night as multiple units swarmed the neighborhood: JTTF, counterterrorism, and local precincts. They found Elias standing outside House 112, hands raised, one of the terrorists restrained at his feet. The lieutenant who had testified against him stepped out of the lead SUV. Elias? Elias simply nodded. Check the crates. And check House 77. You're hours away from a Halloween massacre. The lieutenant stared, stunned, humbled, because every detail Elias submitted matched what the FBI had been unsuccessfully chasing for 8 months. By morning, the news cycle exploded. Foiled terror attack in NYC. Anonymous tip saves thousands. The Westbrook cell. Suspects captured in suburban hideout. The story went global. But Elias' name wasn't mentioned not because they forgot him, but because he asked for anonymity. He didn't want redemption handed to him. He wanted truth to speak for itself. Yet the irony? The NYPD privately sent him a reinstatement offer. He declined. A week later, an understated envelope arrived on Elias's porch. Inside was a handwritten note from the police commissioner. You did what the badge is supposed to do, even without wearing one. Elias placed the note in a drawer he rarely opened. Because prestige, real prestige, isn't in applause. It's all about having a strong belief, even when no one's watching, you know? That Halloween weekend, millions were out having a blast in New York City, totally unaware that the hero who saved them was the guy their neighbors had dismissed and whispered about. Isn't that wild? Elias returned to his porch with a cup of black coffee. Not as a hero, but as a guy who gets it. Watching isn't always about being obsessed. Sometimes it's what keeps everyday folks from facing disaster. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more awesome tailies.